just there you go. Just for those who couldn't attend tonight, we're going to be sending this link to them. It's also going to be uploaded on YouTube. So if you're not comfortable or if you'd like to just protect your privacy, I invite you to please change your name on the screen, or if you can take yourself out of the video option. Hopefully we have your permission. If you're not okay with that, just let us know. My name is Chriselle. I'm the PROTECH volunteer coordinator, and I'm also a registered nurse, and I've had a chance to connect with some of you already over the phone. It's been great, and on behalf of the PROTECH team, we'd like to thank you all for coming and for being here tonight and for your time and commitment. We hope you're all well and safe at home. We've had such an enthusiastic response from all of our volunteers so far, and we have a very diverse mix of people from all walks of life, and it's been really great to hear and connect with some of you who are even outside of the province too. So very exciting for all of us, and thank you for your commitment. I'd like to just take this time before we go forward to introduce our PROTECH team. So they can introduce themselves if that's okay, starting with Dr. Josephine Wong. And then Josephine, if you could introduce yourself and then invite another team member to speak up, that'd be great.
Great. Hello, everyone. I'm Josephine Wong, and I know a number of faces on the screen. This is really great. And I am a professor at the School of Nursing at Ryerson University. And I am very excited to have a chance to work with you all and collaborate with you, and you'll learn more about PROTECH. And I will pass it now to my colleague, Alan.
Hi, I'm Alan Lee. I'm one of the investigators on the research team of PROTECH. My day job is a primary care physician at Regent Park Community Health Center, and I've been involved with a lot of different communities working around social justice issues, LGBT issues, HIV issues, and immigrant and refugee issues. Glad to be here. Welcome.
Alan, would you like to invite?
I'll pass it on to Kenneth, Dr. Fong.
Hi, everyone. My name is Kenneth Fong, and I'm a psychiatrist based at Toronto Western Hospital, UHN, and with also the University of Toronto. I'm one of the co-PIs in this project, and my job is to make you happy. So there you go. Who would like to go next? Or do I pass it back to Chriselle?
You can invite anybody.
Oh, okay. I'll pass it on to Keith, our project manager then.
Hello, everyone. Good to see you.
That's a powerful voice, Keith.
Little feedback.
So while Keith is setting the echo, we can pass to Mandana.
Hello, everyone. My name is Mandana Wahabi. I'm also a professor at Ryerson University in the nursing department, and my interest is in the area of access to healthcare services among immigrant people. And I am really glad that I'm here with you today for us to provide some information about our project and also working with all of you in the near future. Welcome, everyone. And I'll pass it to Maurice.
Hi, everyone. Welcome. My name is Maurice Poon, and I'm one of the co-I for the project. I'm currently a professor in the School of Social Work at York University. So I pass it on to Jenny.
Hi, everyone. So how are you? I've been spotlighting the video so you can all kind of see the speakers. And then when it got to me, it was like a pause because I almost couldn't reconcile that action. Anyway, I am a co-investigator on the project, and I see lots of familiar faces on the screen as well. So I'm so excited to see you. And I now pass it back to Keith. Hopefully you fixed your mic.
Yes, you hear me okay? Good. So good evening, everyone again. I'm the project manager. I've been started with the project a few months ago. And for me, my background is in the finance and nonprofit management. And I'm actually glad and also involved in a lot of community issues and working with the research team members for the last 20 years or so. So in different projects, and I'm actually glad to be part of the team. Great to see you all.
Who would you like to pass it on to next?
Oh, I can't see the screen. Why don't you choose one?
All right, so let's go to Nina.
Hey everyone, I'm Nina. It's great to see you all, especially to see some old friends here. I'm a postdoctoral fellow at Ryerson University under the supervision of Professor Josephine Wang, and I'm also one of the co-investigators of this project. It's so great to see you all. And I'm gonna pass it to Andy.
Hi everyone, my name is Andy Mock. For this project, I am one of the knowledge users in helping mobilize nursing students across Canada. My day job is a registered nurse, and I'm really excited to meet all of you here, and hopefully we can work together in the near future. I'll pass it back to Chriselle. I think we've
Yes, I think that's everybody. It's a big team, but we all get along very well. So I'll be sharing my screen now just to share our agenda and our PowerPoint. So just some housekeeping, things to keep in mind. Again, the meeting is going to be recorded for those of you who came in a little late. So if you're comfortable with that, if you have your permission, that would be great. It's also going to be posted on YouTube for volunteer orientation. But if you're not comfortable, you'd like to maintain private, that's okay as well. You can change your name or just disable the video function. Please, so everybody is muted for now, but there will be some time for question afterwards. And also there's a chat box function for those of you who have further comments. So we're also going to take some time to just talk about the reason for this meeting, which is to get to know the project itself, our principles, our values, our goals and objectives, and what our activities have been so far. We're also going to talk about our volunteer framework, learn about the different components of this project and areas where there are available volunteer roles. We're going to have some time for questions and answers, talk about the next steps, and then we're going to wrap up the meeting with some announcements. So now I'm going to invite Dr. Wong to talk about the project.
Okay, thank you, Chriselle. You can just call me Josephine. So why did we develop the PROTECH project is partly in the middle of February when CIHR actually announced that there'll be funding. And around that time, actually, many of us on the team had already talked about what is happening with the Chinese Canadian and other Asian communities because of what is happening around the world. And so the Chinese Canadian and other Asian communities around the world were actually the first group affected. Not only because of COVID-19 started in Asia, different countries, it's also because the kind of racism that actually had started to resurge and the xenophobia that we can actually notice in media across the world. So we thought about what had happened during SARS, during that period of time when we had the SARS outbreak in 2003, a number of us who were on this team were already working in that, and we learned from that time that the outbreak is not only a biomedical disease issue. There were lots of issues tied to the psychosocial well-being, tied to racism that happened, tied to a lot of the kind of violence that happened in the communities, and people who actually were laid off, fired just because of misinformation. So we anticipated that similar kind of needs will be happening and they will be pretty urgent. So then we went and applied, and we were one of the first 49 projects that were funded by the government of Canada. And those of you who had actually checked out our website, you can see that we put in the picture right at the beginning to actually really reflect the kind of things that we want to do with this project. Next slide, please. So then one thing that we would like to highlight tonight is that PROTECH is underpinned by principles of social justice and equity. And it's really important for us to lay that out right up front because it kind of influences the type of program services and information that we put on our website and engage with the communities. And we recognize, our project and our team recognize that the kind of social inequities that we witness right now during a pandemic actually have been rooted and perpetuated in historical context. So the kind of xenophobia and racism and economic exclusion that have been affecting a lot of people in our communities and other racialized communities is not just because of COVID-19. Chinese Canadian had experienced racism 200 years ago and has continued to experience that in different levels, different contexts. The other thing that we really value is meaningful engagement and equitable engagement with affected communities. And so part of the reason we engage volunteers is also tied to that. When we say meaningful engagement, it also means that there will be opportunities for people who really want to engage. They share leadership. We want to build capacity. We want to make it so that this project is not really an academic research project, but this is actually a project that is action-oriented, and it enables everyone who joined the project to be empowered. And so our project teams, members, so anyone who joined PROTECH, researchers, collaborators, staff, and volunteers, we expect that everyone actually follow these principles. So I would now pass to my colleague Mandana to say more about the project.
Sorry, everyone. It's my internet is unstable, so I hope everyone can hear me clearly. Thank you, Josephine. I would like now to provide some information about the goal and objectives of our project. Based on the context that Josephine actually provided, we felt that this project should actually do a multiple number of objectives, achieve a number of objectives that are interrelated with one another. We would like to raise awareness. We want to promote psychosocial well-being during this crisis period with panic happening everywhere, as well as the social injustice is actually in rising. We want to build community resilience, reduce stigma, both external stigma that is actually targeted at the crisis, as well as the internal stigma that people may go through because of what is happening in the current situation. In addition to that, another objective that we have is promote social justice. So when you look at it, all these objectives are interrelated. Next slide. So our project has different components, and my other colleagues, Alan and Kenneth, Jenny and Nina, will be talking about each of those components. So one element of this our project, one component of our project is a SPARK, the Systematic Pandemic Active Response Collaborative. What basically we were hoping to do is that to learn from this crisis and document all the processes, all the activities, everything that we actually are doing and reaching out to the affected population, trying to build the resiliency of the community through that factor. So we are going to be holding, and Alan is going to be talking more about that. Our project also has a component of information hub, which looks at both mental, physical, and social well-being, and has a component of interactive part of live chat, which again, Kenneth and Jenny will be talking about that section in much more detail. And we have finally another component called PACER, Pandemic Acceptance and Commitment to Empowerment Response. That is an online training, both for healthcare professionals as well as the affected community regarding mental health resilience. Next slide, please. Our activities to date has been a lot. First of all, we have curated a lot of information regarding different areas, the physical, social, and mental, and it's all posted, uploaded on the website. We developed our website and launched it on May 4th. We have also provided live chat services, which actually launched on, during the same week that the website was on. We started training people to do the PACER, and it will be piloted in June of 2020. And the Spark component has been started, and we are trying to co-create this process. Thank you very much. I'm going to pass it to Keith.
Hello. Hi. Well, the first thing we actually say to all of you, actually, big thank you. So is the funny thing about it is we actually starting as a project that come together very quickly, and without a lot of infrastructure being built or volunteer programming, it just got a lot of people actually who have been willing to help out in whatever capacity and contribute in many different ways. So first thing we have to acknowledge, we have more than 130 people, volunteers who have contributed to the PROTECH project in the past 2 months in a very rapid manner. So there's many different roles. It includes what Mandana had mentioned, so much work in terms of info hub development, technical support, and a lot of social media promotion. Then we have the live chat and hotline volunteers and doing this support, and also we have a lot of people helping in our focus group and community engagement with outreach, and we have so many work groups that have to kind of like meeting us to non-stop, all in the last couple of months, in all the Zoom meetings. Even we are not physically together, but we kind of like spiritually and mentally together through the virtual space. So first thing I have to say, we really appreciate so many of you. Before we actually start the time that we want to consolidate a little bit about our programming, and then we actually really appreciate to have Chriselle actually being our volunteer coordinator to formalize a little bit our programming. So will you go to the next slide? Yeah. So this is the framework that is being developed, and then you probably see the form that actually we asked you in terms of the sign up, and we kind of formalize a little bit about the job descriptions of different areas of our work. I think that it's going through the list. We have integrated resource hub, and we have realized we're actually looking for the roles that we're looking for would be creators and writers and editors. We have copywriters and content reviewers. We have translators, interpreters. We have website technical and design support people, and also we have audiovisual content developers. We need graphic designers, and on the live chat functions, I think many of you have been involved in our online and telephone supports, and coming in the new PACER training, we were looking for PACER facilitators after they got our training. And in terms of community engagement, we have community outreach ambassadors. We will have community event and project organizers. And in terms of public relations and communications, we'll We'll formalize the role of the social media ambassadors. We also have the public and media key opinion leader ambassadors. So those are the roles that we're going to more define. So I just give you an overview of the volunteer roles what we are actually developed, and I actually would like to have other team members to talk a little bit more details about those functions based on the role. I think the next person should be Alan, right?
Hi, so I get to talk about one of the very colorful component of the project, which is the Spark. When we were developing the proposal, actually, we all struggling to figure out what Spark is. But I think Kenneth, who came up with all these smart acronyms, actually intuitively know what it means, because it's really about sparking community action in response to the epidemic. So from a research kind of perspective, it is about documenting and learning from the experience of community organizing and looking at how people come together, developing resources and response, and how we work together so that we can actually document it and learn from it to help our community as well as other communities to prepare for similar challenges like pandemics and other problems in the future. But as we all know, and as you are all here, we are very passionate and committed individuals. So we cannot just sit there and watch things happen and write things down. That's not what we do. We actually are the people who really feel passionately and wants to make things happen. So that's what kind of Spark has become, and really is about community engagement and mobilization. So if you're volunteering for this area, if you sign up for community engagement, the kind of activities we might need your support include identifying and assisting in reaching out to relevant community members and stakeholders to promote different kind of partnerships and engagement with PROTECH. So for example, we have a number of community consultation sessions initially, and then some community members, I think they're actually here today, talk about the crisis facing our nursing home in the Chinese community. So we actually reach out to the nursing home, and then we have developed since then some activities to support the staff as well as supporting the families affected. So that's just one example of how our community engagement processes work. So we're also organizing other follow-up community planning activities, including a general town hall session that will happen next week, which we'll talk about later. So we need all sorts of logistic support and promotion and volunteers to help with translation. One of the key added value of our project is to be able to support our communities through the different languages they communicate in. So we wanted to try to make sure that our events is accessible as possible. And in the online forum, it poses a lot of new learnings for us, but with all your help, I think we can overcome a lot of things. So thirdly, I think we also need a lot of volunteers to actually engage with different community partners to identify new needs and make plans and develop new services or action plans to deal with emerging needs. So for example, next week's forum would enable us to figure out, when we are reopening and we're entering the next phase of the pandemic, what are some of the things we need to help prepare our communities for? So that's some of the examples of what Spark is about. And then it also actually links to the interactive part of our website, which if we can go to the next slide, I think I get to talk about that too, which is the integrated COVID-19 resource hub. And once again, when we started, we were thinking of having a site where we would provide well-curated information that addresses the medical, social, and mental health information about COVID-19 and how to support our communities in dealing with it. But I think we go way beyond that. We actually have vision for a information hub that is not just there for information, but is therefore also to create a community space where we can actually interact and share experiences of our resilience, share stories of how our community support each other, and learn from tools that we have developed or co-developed. So one of the exciting thing and unique about our website is the mental health resilience assessment tool that Jenny developed. And it actually, if you fill in the tool, if you haven't done that, you know, it would be really fun to do. That will actually help you, direct you to the specific areas of information that will support your needs in a more targeted way. So it's not just about having general information. We actually have very targeted information, and we need your help to stay up to date with the news that is happening in our community. We need you to help us research different issues that emerging in our communities, and we need you to share stories and contribute to our newsletter, to the website content. And of course, some of you already done that. We need a lot of help translating some of the articles and posts from different sources, because not all of the information are available in Chinese languages. And we also need help with website maintenance. And there's also, like, our possibilities are endless. We actually can create a lot of exciting audiovisual materials. We have really rich stories in our community since the very beginning of the pandemic that not captured yet. And I think that as the pandemic continues, you know, there'll be a lot more stories of resilience and that we can share and support each other with. So I think that's what the Info Hub is about. It's not just about information. It's actually a dynamic place to, and a resource to keep us resilient and support each other. So that's what I wanted to say about these two components. Then we'll pass it on to Kenneth and Jenny for the live chat.
Great, wow, wonderful, thank you, Alan. So Jenny and I will introduce this part, and as you saw at the heart of the three intersecting circles in the shape of a heart is live chat. And so live chat is one of the more interactive components of the website. Even back in 2003, before there was so much use of internet, in response to the SARS crisis, a lot of us were involved in mounting a response, like called the live, not the live chat, but SARS support line. It was a telephone support line, and we found that it was really helpful for the community in response to the pandemic. And so in the advent of web technology, we feel that it's similarly relevant to build a service that is going to complement the website, because the website includes a lot of so-called pull technology that it's there, and it's up to the users to how to know how to navigate it or to go to it when it's when they need the service, and which is very important. At the same time, there are those who have other questions that they may not know either how to find it on our website or other websites, or they may have just other questions. So we feel that a live chat is important. So when we say live chat, what does it mean by live chat? It means live, not pre-recorded. So that's what we mean by live. So that means that we rely on trained volunteers to be on the back end of this, where if people have questions or they need help, they are able to access our service live through two methods. One is through text. So there's a little chat box window that pops up and engages the user in either English or Chinese, either traditional or simplified text that you can key in and start a text-based dialogue with our responders. The other method is the good old traditional telephone method. And on our back end, we also have responders that are standing by during the hours of live chat operation. And the overall aim of the live chat is to provide those 4 boxes. Number 1 is to clarify and to provide crucial information with regards to COVID-19 and public health measures. We want to be part of the solution to help contain the pandemic and to give accurate information in a day and age where people are inundated with 10,000 sources of information, and some of them accurate and some of them not really. So we want to be able to help in delivering reliable and relevant information for people that's relevant to our local context here. Secondly, on the upper left-hand corner is the key emotional support. Because in this pandemic, not only is accurate information important, something like living through a pandemic, whether you're affected or not, it touches every single one of us in different ways, including in an emotional level. Having our emotional needs taken care of is part of mental health well-being. Also, we are able to respond to the pandemic much more effectively if, as a community, as individuals, we're not in a panic mode, that we're able to do reasonable things for reasonable reasons. And then on the bottom, the 2 boxes is to link to other information sources, both in terms of community resources, community services, as well as other online information that people may require. So we are also able to help people navigate the community resources in terms of mental health or social or even health services, as well as other sources of reliable online information, both on our website as well as external to our website. So Jenny is gonna talk more then about the volunteers' role in all of this.
Mm-hmm. So we have, as Kenneth mentioned, our live chat is focused on 4 main areas, and it is kind of live in that there's always someone manning. In fact, if you go on our website, projectprotech.ca right now, you will be able to see that there's a chat window at the bottom right of your screen, and that when you click on that chat, there will be someone on the other end to respond. So in terms of the 4 areas that our live chat is really trying to provide, it really connects, you know, the core objectives of our project together, and we consider our live chat responders and supervisors to really be, you know, the front line of Project PROTECH, in that the community inquiries, the distress, the questions go to live chat first, and they're able to respond and give a collective voice that extends the core objectives and the values of Project PROTECH and what we're trying to do for the community. So in terms of volunteer responsibilities, live chat, we will have additional training. I know some of you are here because you are coming from live chat and we've onboarded you previously, but you're also interested in getting involved in other activities. So I see lots of familiar faces there. And then some of you have actually signed up to be a live chat responder or supervisor, and you're here to find out more information about the project. So for a live chat, if you'd like to be a responder or a supervisor, you'll be, you know, you'll have to go through some training, you'll watch some of the videos, and then we will gradually onboard you under the mentorship of our existing responders and supervisors. So you can learn the ropes, navigate the website, learn the technology. There's 2 sets of technology, as Kenneth mentioned earlier. There's a text version of it, and then there's the phone version of it. Both is actually done on the computer electronically. So there's a little bit of a learning curve there. And then finally, just get comfortable with the environment and stay up to date with the information that's available on our website and also in the community. So we will have the next wave for live chat. We'll have a next wave of onboarding next Monday, June 1st, after we've kind of oriented you to our project goals and objectives. That's all.
So maybe I just also add, it was on the blue box, the last point, which was which is because we are interfacing with the community, it is one of the multiple sources where we may hear the community needs, emerging community needs. So it can become also a gathering point of what the emerging trends and needs are, unmet gaps are, and once we identify them, it can be passed on to other parts of the project to act upon.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the next slide. I'm going to introduce again the next component, which is the PACER component. And I'm going to introduce the general idea of it. And then I will have Nina help me out to also describe the volunteers' responsibilities. PACER, if you recall the beautiful diagram that was ingeniously crafted and illustrated and presented by Mandana today, it says that so that we have the website, which becomes a hub of everything, like for the web for the community to interface with, and then for a subset section of the public, they need more help, so they're going to call in, right? So then we thought that there might be even a smaller subsection, if you remember the concentric circles, who are going to need even more intensive kind of help. So we have created this part, which is called the PACER training, which stands for Pandemic Acceptance and Commitment to Empower Response Training. This builds on our group's years of work in various sectors of building empowerment, acceptance, commitment, and resilience using a particular model, which we call the ACE model, to help people increase their flexibility and resilience in the face of stressful life events. On the one hand, to be able to cope better, and then on the other hand, to be more effective in both their personal lives, as well as through a collective community action, so that it can also help the wider community. So both components are as important. So the idea then is that this PACER training will be targeted for those who have even more higher needs. And this includes two major groups. One are the service providers, including healthcare professionals or other social service providers who are on the front line. And we don't want them to burn out. And we want to recognize that they need extra tools to remain resilient and healthy. And the second group are non-service providers, but those in the general community who need more intensive support, either because they have been exposed to the virus itself, or because their family members have been exposed to the virus, or because they are in certain positions such as community leadership, where they are also impacted and they're trying to mobilize community response. So our training, based on our ACE model, will consist of two major components. There's an online component, which are self-directed learning modules that people will engage in, one module per week over 6 weeks. And each week, as these participants are engaging in this, they will also be participating in a weekly video interactive group session, which brings together concepts that they learn through the online module. And the PACER training will be available in Cantonese, Mandarin, and English. So I will turn things over to Nina, who's coordinating this part, and talk a little bit about the role of volunteers and also just what stage we are at in terms of preparation and launch.
Thank you so much, Kenneth. So I'm Nina, the coordinator of the PACER training. So I'm going to introduce you our major volunteer responsibilities here. First, the volunteers, or I would say PACER facilitators, are expected to attend all PACER training. That means you are expected to complete all online self-learning modules before the weekly group discussions, as well as participate in all the 6 online weekly group discussions. And then we are, as we are recruiting people who can speak English, Mandarin, or Cantonese to participate in our PACER training. So these facilitators are expected to deliver
training for further groups like this in the future. Of course, we will provide them with supervision and guidance to help them to deliver further training. And also, once you are with us, we also expect you to promote the PACER training together with us and help us to recruit more participants to help people enlarge. So those are basically the volunteer responsibilities. And before anyone can participate in the training, we will invite you to complete a consent form to ensure that your privacy will be kept confidential and only training team members can access to your personal information. And during the weekly group discussions, all the information you shared during the online self-learning modules will be kept confidential as well. And also for our weekly online group discussions, you can try to protect your privacy by either turning off your camera or use an alias to participate in the discussion. And for the current stage we're actually preparing the online learning modules at Moodle. So everything is actually quite well prepared so far. And we have reached out to healthcare providers and also community members. And so far we have got almost more than 20 people who will participate in our first wave of training. And the first wave of training will be delivered on Wednesday from 8 p.m. to 9:30 p.m., beginning from June the 10th, altogether 6 sessions. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Nina. I'd like to invite Key, the project manager.
Oh, just thank you. It's just an acknowledgement about some people part of our team. So you've met a number of researchers, Josephine, Kenneth, Alan, Mandana, Jenny, Andy, and Lina, and Morris, and my role. And also we have actually people who actually help us in website design and tech support. And those are the key the people who actually help us in the back end. And we also have a lot of community collaborators and a whole long list of people involved in our work groups and give us direction and input, and as well as they all do a lot of hand-on work as well to help out, and also plus also all the volunteers who've been helping out. So this is just a quick acknowledgement. And do you mind the next slide? Who's going to do that? Okay.
The next
so this is Chriselle.
Yes. Yeah, so just before we wrap things up, just want to talk about the next steps moving on. Hopefully you had some time to really get to know the project and the mission of PROTECH and the different areas where you can volunteer. Hopefully you found other areas that may be of interest to you as well. So I believe most of the participants here have already filled out the volunteer form. If not, I will send that to you if you can reach out to me at volunteer@projectprotech.ca. If you have already selected your specific areas of volunteer contributions and you're happy with it, great. There's no further actions on your end at this point. But if you, after attending this meeting, decide you want to contribute to other areas or you just change your mind a little bit, I invite you to email me again at volunteer@project.protech.ca by the end of the week, and then we can sort that out. To those of you who I already spoke to on the phone and connected with you after filling out the form, that's great. But if I haven't had a chance to call you yet or connect with you to get to do the screening, I'll be getting to that very shortly. And then after that, the volunteer team leads that you just heard from will follow up with you individually to talk about a little bit more details moving forward, whether it be in-depth trainings or more meetings, and just to get to know upcoming events. So thank you to the team for presenting and taking their time to talk about their specific areas. We are now opening up the floor for question and answers. If there's further clarifications that you need, if you can ask questions to any of our team members, and if you are unable to, just make sure you unmute yourself. And if you are unable to use your audio, you can also use the chat box below.
You are now able to unmute yourself. So if you have any questions, please feel free to just unmute and ask, or you can just type it in chat, as Crystal has said.
Hi, I have a question about how the PROTECH project is being promoted in the community, like what type of forms of media it has also been, I guess, advertised on.
Keith, do you want to?
Okay, sure. Yeah. So in terms of, I wouldn't say advertisement, because we don't have money to budget for advertisement like the traditional way. But we do have through our project launch, we actually have a media conference, actually inviting all the media. And actually we have through the traditional media, we have a lot of media interview for our project, and that's one of the channel, as well as we're actually sending all our media, our launch, our project related information, our training, and to all the community organizations, and ask them as well forward to contact. So it's basically all more community based, and also the media wise. Also, we have all the social media accounts, and we try to build a better profile. I think that's part of that way, and we still do need a way more work, and maybe even more organized work. That's why we actually have built up a more voluntary function that actually help us to do more on those areas as well. So include Jenny, you want to talk a little bit about the social media promotion thing?
Yeah, sure. So what you see on the screen now is actually our QR codes for all of our LinkedIn social media. So, so we have tested this out. If you hold your phone very, very close to the screen, it does capture the exact social media account. And of course, these are also linked on our website as well. We are active on social media, on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, WeChat, and we also have a YouTube video where this training video will be hosted as well. One of the ongoing volunteer activities is to engage in social media promotion, whether that's content curation, proactive engagement, reactive engagement, regular content, and platform monitoring. All of those are ongoing initiatives that we'll be rolling out, and we hope that if you're interested, that you would let Crystal know, and I will certainly reach out to those who have expressed interest in partaking in social media promotion.
Yeah, and is it something that you'll be also interested to help out?
Oh no, I asked mainly because I was wondering for I guess older generations, like my parents' generation, like how would they be able to find out about this project so that they can also make use of the services that are being offered?
Okay, that's great. Yes, a good
and for
question.
them, I would say they would listen to radio stations, or they would watch TV.
Yeah, it's fortunate. We actually have quite a number of Chinese language media engagement in terms of we have been interviewed by the Chinese radio station as well as the Chinese TV stations. So they actually have a special segment talk about project, and then we actually our website, that we actually have a lot of Chinese language materials, and as well the links to information. So I think that our group, the community engagement group is also have actually working with some, I think maybe Alan can tell a little bit about, they actually started senior requests with the senior group as well, that actually we do some outreach, and actually maybe,
So yeah, I think that was a very good question. So initially, we set it up primarily in a web-based thing, and because of the social distancing, it's really hard to use the regular community spaces and channels to do that. And a lot of the service agencies also are doing remote services. So it's been very challenging for, I think, the older population who are not as tech comfortable. So I think the main, I'm not even sure people are buying newspapers or newspapers are being available in Chinatown anymore, for example. So mostly we have radio and TV. And I think that it has been a good friend to us. We've done a lot of interviews and trying to do that. And we actually get some requests from senior groups to talk about health issues and things with the Chinese senior group. So of course, I think we need the volunteers to help with maybe some tech support for their family and friends so that they can feel more comfortable and have better access to the phone and web-based technology. For tomorrow morning, I'm going to do, for example, like a phone health talk with a bunch of Chinese senior group answering questions about COVID-19. So they are not quite set up for Zoom meeting, but they are calling in through teleconference. So I think we need to keep learning and trying to reach out. And if there's other ideas you can think of that would support it, we are happy to listen.
Thank you, Alan. Do we have any further questions?
Hi, this is Minghui Yang, and I'm a PhD student from School of Public Health at U of T. I have a question related to are we now working with any professional mental health or social work organizations? I know the PIs are from this kind of organization, but I'm wondering whether for daily operation of the support network and, for example, through the live chat, do we have any kind of volunteers or professionals who are giving this kind of support to the community?
So I can speak to the live chat part specifically. So the goal of the live chat is more to extend upon the available information and resources that's hosted on our website, as well as provide any immediate supportive here. We are not providing any counseling services through live chat alone, because there are so many layers to even like a question like, should I wear a mask? I'm worried. There are multiple layers to peel off from that. So for live chat services, it's really for supportive listening, information that's relevant to the website, connecting them to the right community agencies, services, and latest updates regarding COVID-19. And then I will pass it on to Josephine or Kenneth, who can speak to with regard to our formal collaborations with various health and social community agencies.
Okay, so thank you, Minghui, for asking that question. That is a good question. One of our collaborators is actually Hong Kong Mental Health Association. And one of their staff had actually joined our mental health group and have been doing the planning group processes. And in the near future, some of their staff, a couple of their staff actually will be coming through training with us. And so that they will be able to actually also carry out mental health services. As Jenny pointed out, our live chat is not there to do very serious mental health counseling. It's there to provide psychosocial support. And when our responders actually identify someone who require more services, then the person will be referred to. If they need crisis intervention, they'll be referred to the crisis hotline. And if they require other kind of longer term counseling, they will be referred to the correct or the right organization to do that. And our responders, many of our responders on live chat actually are retired mental health professionals, social service providers. And so we actually have been quite fortunate to have really amazing people working with us right now as volunteers. So I don't know, Kenneth, would you like to add anything to this?
It sounds like a very comprehensive answer. Yeah, I think as described by Josephine and Jenny, we do work closely with Hong Kong Mental Health Association, and some of you might know. And as well, I am from the Asian Mental Health from Toronto Western Hospital. So we do have professional mental health services affiliated somewhat with the project, and also Hong Kong being an official partner. So as the project evolves, we'll continue to look for that kind of collaboration. I'm just also curious, in your question, is there a specific aspect of the question that I don't know if we've addressed fully? What made you curious to ask that question? Being a psychiatrist, I'm interested to know why you asked it. What else is you would like to know that we can help you answer?
Yeah, it's just simply because I'm trying to promote this project to my friend circle a little bit, and I want to get some more specific information on how it works, like the mechanism of it, and what kind of support people could get from it. So that was the reason why I asked the question. And also, like as a volunteer, I would like to know like how I can contribute to the project. And since I have no professional background in mental health or social work, I just it would be great to know that we have this kind of support network that we can refer people to.
Right. And so just briefly, I don't know if Jenny has already mentioned, but there are the roles of the responder and supervisors. So usually when you're on a shift, you don't need to worry. There's a supervisor available. And even when you're doing texting on a phone call, they can parachute in and help you. So they are more experienced counselors, or as Josephine is saying, retired mental health professionals who are there to support you. So that's number one. So you don't have to feel like you'll be going outside your comfort zone. And as to advertising to your friends, if they have deeper emotional needs, I guess there are two things. I guess number one is, as Jenny was saying, our live chat is able to give some degree of emotional support, especially if your friends are panicking because they don't have the right information or they don't know where to turn to for services. Even though we won't be, giving like a 12-session counseling sessions or anything like that, it can be a gateway towards services. I think that's number one. I think number two is that if you recall the PACER aspect, so if you do know of friends who have been really touched by COVID, whether they've lost family members or they really have been affected by COVID themselves, they may be eligible for our PACER training. The PACER training then is a much more intensive training, 6 weekly session training that can help build the resilience for those who are more severely affected. So as you're spreading out the message for people who are highly impacted, whether they are, your friends are, are in the healthcare professional and they're burning out, because we hear that, or your friends are people who are really affected and touched by COVID in a very personal way, who lost someone, even outside Canada. We have people who have lost people back in Asia. So these people will be eligible for a more intensive program, the PACER training.
Thank you, Kenneth, and thank you, Josephine and Jenny.
Thank you, Minhua, for that wonderful question.
Great, thank you, everybody. The other further questions we can open up to the rest of the team. All right. No questions? Crystal clear? It's okay if something comes up later on. Again, you can send me an email. I would just like to take this time to talk about some upcoming events and announcements for our project. And I'll invite Dr. Ellen Lee to talk about the community town hall.
So, so this is one of the very exciting event that's happening next Wednesday, 6 to 7:30. We have we're gonna have a community town hall and with a very distinguished panel of speakers that comes from different backgrounds, including the medical officer of health from Toronto Public Health, and our very own Dr. Kenneth Fung, also from the Chinese and Southeast Asian Legal Clinic, Director Afi Go, and Susan Ng, who's the Board of Director for Chinese Canadian National Council for Social Justice, and Dr. Stephen Huang, who's an internal medicine specialist from St. Michael's Hospital. So they will comment on about the emerging trends and needs from COVID-19 as we are entering the next phase of the pandemic. What are the implications for our communities? How can we prepare for it? What are the issues we need to focus on? So the area that we really need volunteers' help is that we found that to conduct the town hall in 3 languages is really challenging, and the Zoom technology actually doesn't really allow the interaction. For people who attend webinars and things, then you can text in, but you can't really have simultaneous translation. So what we have tried to do now is to get people to send in their speaking notes ahead of time, and we're gonna need volunteers to help translate them and put them up as closed captions. We also need volunteers who can type very quickly to help us with question and answer period. So if you are really good with translation and with fast typing, that would be, your skill would be much needed and much appreciated. Then we also, at the last half hour of the forum, we wanted to engage people in language-specific small discussion groups so that we can have a chance to really listen to what are the emerging concerns of the community and how we could support the process of us planning some of the initiatives to help address those needs. So this is going to be an exciting event, but we also really need your support to make it accessible and engaging for our communities. So if you are available and interested in helping with the translation and language support, that would be really appreciated. And I think that Lena is the team lead for the translation, right?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. So if you can, maybe Lena can help make an appeal, and then if you're available in the next week, we're asking people to at least send in their prepared part of their presentation by Monday. So if you have some time between Monday to Wednesday to help with that, that would be really appreciated. I think we just put out the Eventbrite this afternoon, and we already have quite a few sign up. So that's one event. I also wanted to give an opportunity to one of our collaborating community partner, the Chinese Canadian National Council Toronto chapter. I know that they're here and they are launching their reporting to tomorrow. So I wanted to invite Kate and Calvin to maybe say a few words about the event tomorrow. Kate, are you still there? Calvin?
Hi, can you see me?
I can, but we can change it to.
Your video security setting, I don't think is enabled for Zoom.
Oh, okay. I just want to let you know, I am here. That should be good. I am here, but I wasn't a part of the planning for that. I'm part of doing the work for the survey, but I don't think I'm qualified to speak on the launch event, although I will be.
Kate is here too. Kate, do you want to speak about that? You can unmute yourself, can you? Or I can unmute you. anyway, maybe I can speak a little bit about it. One of our key partners, Chinese Canadian National Council for Social Justice and Toronto chapter, has been at the forefront of anti-racism and anti-stigma work related to the Chinese Canadian communities for decades, but also specifically about COVID-19. So one of the key concerns, and I think as Josephine talked about at the beginning, was the fact that there has been really rising racist assaults to many members of our community, and not only Chinese Canadian community, but Asian Canadian communities in general as well. So since a couple months ago, we have actually collaborated with CCNCs to update and develop a reporting tool for people to report racist experience and incidents. And they have revamped their website and updated the tool, and also build coalitions across the country with many other groups, I think in Montreal, in Vancouver, and they will be launching at a press conference tomorrow to publicize the reporting tool and the next steps in the campaign to how to unite our communities to fight racism. So I think we could post, I think that's on our website already. I think we just got the notice this afternoon. If you check out our website, there should be some post on there. Keith, are they there?
We'll be there soon.
Okay. We need more website maintenance volunteers to keep putting things up every hour of the day. Any other partners who are here who wants to make any comments or any questions about that?
I just want to add, sorry, before we move forward, I'm going to send in the chat box Nina's email. So if you are available next Wednesday and you're interested in helping out with translation for the town hall, please send her an email, or you can also give me a heads up at my email and I'll forward that to Alan as well. Sorry, I don't know who I interrupted. Somebody was talking.
I think it's Eric, isn't it?
Yes, I seem to have seen Eric's picture.
Is in
yes,
Montreal?
I just want to know what the time of the press conference tomorrow.
Let us. We will look for the poster in a second. If people can ask other questions, we can tell you in a minute.
Alan?
Yeah?
What time is the press conference tomorrow?
Yeah, I'm looking for the poster.
Oh, okay.
We got like so many emails.
So I found it. It is tomorrow at 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. And so for those of you who are interested, we can pass that information to you, or I think you might be able to find that information from Instagram and other places. I can pass that information to you.
Yeah.
Yes, the poster will be shared for both our upcoming town hall as well as for the press conference up on our website front page, which is now linked in the chat box in our Zoom window, and also shortly distributed on social media accounts if you follow our social media.
Great.
Thank you. There was a question from Vicky. How can I add PROTECH Facebook account? How do we scan the code for the Facebook?
So for the QR codes that was on the screen, I don't know if Krishna, you want to put it back on the screen. So if you open the camera function of your phone and you hold it to the screen on the computer, it will automatically scan into whichever social media. But I also want to point out that all the social media accounts are also linked on our website as well. in case you don't get to scan or if it's, you know, too small.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, you can go to a website and you see the icon of all the social media icons. You will find, actually you click on it while you're while you're online, you actually can add like our page or something like that. The fastest you can do.
Thank you, Vicky, for that question. Did we have any other questions from the volunteers?
So I have a question. This is Josephine.
Hello.
So my question is, I know that many of you had amazingly signed up and you have submitted your form, signing up as volunteers, and you have identified certain areas that you are interested in. I'm just wondering if any of you, after our orientation presentation tonight, that you're actually considering signing up to more than one of the areas or thinking about switching. You can either raise your hand or you can speak out. We welcome people to speak. And if you're going to become a live chat telephone respondent, this is a good time to practice talking to strangers.
Hello, can you hear me? Hello?
Hi.
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 Hi, I'm Kara. So I signed up for a live chat responder. So I'm just wondering, is there any is there any training available except for this orientation? Will be upcoming training for the next week, maybe?
Annie is going to answer that.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, Kara.
Hi.
Just wondering, did you sign up in the last week or so?
Yeah, I did sign up for last week, but it comes in like a recording video, something like that. So am I supposed to look at that video, or is there maybe after any training?
Yes, so
afterwards. Okay.
So how we have structured so far is to have you receive that email first with all of our pre-recorded training that has happened in the past.
Okay.
We onboarded the first wave of responders and supervisors. The trainings are quite comprehensive, and there's 3 recorded sessions. So we encourage everyone who received that email to watch all of those videos first, while we get the references and admin stuff in order, and then we will schedule a training session that is basically an overview of the previous videos, and also address any inquiries and brush up on the main objectives, goals, and skills that you need to know.
Okay,
and that is scheduled for next Monday.
Okay, thank you so much.
No problem.
Thank you, Kara.
Hello, can folks hear me?
Yes, hello.
Hello, my name is Han Ching. I use the pronoun he and him. I'm a registered nurse in Nova Scotia and also doing online courses through University of Toronto for my Master of Nursing. So I'm kind of just curious, once we started this project, would it be possible to have some sort of forum like this again? And for folks in different volunteer group to kind of showcase their experience. So far I only kind of signed up for one, but I'm interested in learning other people's experience to see if there's any other things that I might be interested in. I just wonder if that's going to be a possibility.
Thank you so much for that question. Yes, certainly. We, as Keith mentioned earlier in this process, we're still kind of getting the hang of everything and laying down, frameworks and formalizing the process a little bit. So hopefully once we get everybody a little bit more settled and everybody has an opportunity to get to know the team leads and participate in their respective areas, will have an opportunity to have some, whether it's a forum or kind of like a periodic survey or maybe another Zoom meeting, we're going to find out a way that is convenient for everybody to definitely, learn about the experience for the volunteers, where, we can grow other areas of involvement that maybe get evolved along the way. Certainly that's something we can consider. Keith, did you have anything to add to that?
Not really, you answered pretty well.
Maybe I can say something.
Yeah.
So I think that's actually a very good suggestion. I think that we've been trying to have the volunteers in the same group having regular debriefing and meeting to, both share and learn about their work. I think what the previous speaker is suggesting is that, there could be more cross sharing from the different components of the project. So I think the volunteer forum like this would be a good place so that people actually can learn about the frontline experiences that volunteers have been involved in, and that will probably bring it to life a bit more than what we presented today, which is more like descriptive of the program structure and things, right? So I think that's a really good idea. Is hopefully we'll keep moving into that direction more.
That's great. Thank you for kind of giving clarification on that. The other question that I have is, there was mentioning about the involvement in other cities and provinces. So I just wonder, for folks who access the services, is there kind of a geographical limitation, or would it be kind of open to kind of more the like a general Chinese Canadian population?
Josephine, you want to take that one?
Maybe I can try to answer that to the best I can. Because the PROTECH Resource Hub is actually online, so that is really open to anyone who's, speak English or Chinese. So there's no boundary related to that. People can probably live chat us or, use the phone line. The only issue is that our responders will be familiar with the local GTA public health directives. And then some of the issue that we are providing support or resource information in will be related to maybe some of the kind of benefit or social security system that is only relevant to Ontario. So then that would be the only thing. So if someone is calling from Alberta and British Columbia, then the kind of information that we will be able to provide them will be limited, specific to that. But we can surely point it out to the caller or the user of the live chat that it's important for them to actually access their local information. Then for our PACER resources, that is really, we were funded to actually carry this out to support frontline service providers, healthcare providers who are experiencing burnout and high stress within the GTA area. And so we have been getting actually quite a number of requests or questions about what does it mean, would we be able to engage? So then we need to give the priority to the population that we are funded first. But we have also heard that, and maybe Alan could talk a bit about that, we have heard from other provinces where people actually are just chatting with us, thinking about ideas, collaborating, but not so much that we need to go and provide a service for them, but more about brainstorming within their local context. What are some of the challenges that they are facing and what they can do about it? So I hope that answers some of your questions.
Yes, totally. After you mentioning about the limitation of the resources that you folks are familiar with, that totally makes sense. Yeah.
Unless you sign up as a responder, and say that, you can use this at this time because we have a responder from out east.
Yeah, I'll see what I can do. I work full-time in public health, so
Really, that's all the better.
right now it's like a lot of call volumes to begin with.
Okay.
The other question I have is, my previous job is to really work with marginalized people, queer identified people, and newcomers to Canada. And a lot of folks are not really feeling comfortable reaching out. Is there a mechanism that's going to allow us to do more like a safety check, like us calling others, other than waiting for people to reach out?
So Alan, can you answer that one, Alan?
That's a very good question. So we actually have a very close working relationship with LGBT communities and HIV communities at least in Toronto. And I guess how do we make all our services and program accessible and proactively engaging to marginalized communities is still something we're working on. So one mechanism we are doing right now is actually organizing targeted town halls that aim to engage more marginalized communities that are not accessing services in traditional settlement agencies or health service agencies. So we are working with working groups of like international students, queer identified individuals, precariously employed people who might be working under the table or doing sex work. But that's at the beginning of the process. So we already have community partners that we've been working with. Is about actually developing mechanisms and places to be able to proactively set up that system. But in Toronto, we are a little bit more fortunate because we have local service agencies and partners that we can connect and refer to. I'm not sure how we could effect that change nationally, but if you're interested in joining some of our community engagement work, I'm sure that will be very welcome.
Yeah, just to add to that, so I'm really appreciative of you raising these issues. As we said right at the beginning, we are underpinned by social justice and equity, and that's really important to us. And so if you're thinking about especially the marginalized communities in your local area, it would be really great. Like, we will be happy if you actually email us, and we can always, set up a Zoom meeting to brainstorm with you to support, your local area that way. Or as Alan had pointed out, the good thing about right now, we all had to keep physical distancing, is that we can do this online. And so you might want to join our community engagement group, just so that in joining that meeting, you'll hear the kind of strategies we are using locally, and you might be able to bring that to your communities, out east, because I'm sure that you are connected to numerous communities or groups. And even as someone who's working in public health, you could become one of these transformative forces to actually get some of this going in your area.
That's great. I will definitely be in touch. Yeah, and I think one of the challenge for me to do this because when I first heard about this initiative through U of T, I was like, this is such a great initiative. I really hope this is more kind of broader in terms of collaboration with different provinces. I think for me, it's just because I don't really have the environmental scan locally, so I don't really know how many people are kind of in those reality, other than, in maybe Vancouver or in Toronto, there's like a much higher Chinese Asian population. So it's probably going to be differently justified. So definitely, I would love to get in touch to see if there's anything that we can brainstorm to support the community here in Nova Scotia.
Yeah, we can do a lot of online thing and support the local communities to do that too, right? So yeah, stay in touch. Great, thanks.
Thank you. Just to bring to everybody's attention, those who were interested in the CCNC press conference tomorrow, it's tomorrow at 1 to 2 p.m. And you have to register online. And you can look it up on www.covidracism.ca. For some reason, it won't it doesn't let you do a copy and paste on the group chat, but you can look it up on the website. I am aware of the time, but we can, if there's just maybe one last question or any closing points from any of the team members or anybody who's here, if you'd like to share something with the rest of the group.
I would love to hear from Eddie, who's been putting that toast in front of me, making me feel hungry. So Eddie, are you there? Yes, Eddie is.
Yes, I'm here. Right now, I'm actually just waiting for, I guess, Jenny will contact me because I signed up, I think, a week ago. And I just got the email to join this orientation. So I guess if I had any question, it would be what's the next step? Would I just be waiting for someone to call me to give me the next step, or I'm planning on going to check out the website after? Yeah.
A wonderful idea. I think you are all invited to definitely check out our website, to check out the MSMR tool. And yeah, you're going to get a response from Jenny. In the last 22 minutes, I know that because time is short, we haven't been able to get to know each and every one of you, which I know we really want to, but because of time and logistics, we can't. But since you have 2 minutes, I wonder if everyone, you can type something in the chat box of what your experience is up to this point. That this can be part of the closing check out. So since we are not able to get to every one of you to have a voice, but at least this way, you can have your voice a little bit when you type in your text, what has struck you in listening to us talk and to us talking about both the programs and the limitations and some of the challenges and some of the future directions that we can move in together. So we invite you to, yeah, feel free to put it in your chat. There will be more, I think, formal evaluation later, but at least this is a way for us to just in the last couple of minutes for us to see one another a little bit, even if you're camera shy and probably behind the camera eating or something.
So we hope that you will also, now that you found out more about our project and that you will be checking out the website, we certainly hope that you will also share this project with your networks as well. And that's at least one way how we can expand, you know, knowledge about our project and all of its initiatives.
Thank you so much. It's really nice to, wow, like be sharing on the group chat is so live and vibrant. You want to keep staying on for another 5 minutes. It truly, you know, the success is truly up to, you know, us, right? And the people who are working and are committed to the mission of the project. So, you know, thank you all so much. We know for your time. We only sent this invite a week ago and already we had about 43 participants. So it just says a lot. And so please, if you are interested in joining other areas of the project, again, I invite you to email me. If I haven't had a chance to connect with you over the phone yet, you'll be hearing from me soon. We'll chat and connect and get to know your areas of interest. But for now, if there are no other final points from the team or any other participants here,
I just want to thank the team for coming together and thank all of you for spending this time with us. And thank you all for those who are busy typing away. It's really heartening to hear your comments. So this is to encourage more people to type, but also to say a deep thanks to all of you, because certainly this project cannot proceed without volunteers like yourselves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and since people are still typing away, I'll try to take up some airtime to promote the town hall. After this town hall, the other town hall we're organizing is actually about reaching out to international students who are still in Canada. And we identified that population as one of the more concerned groups that we want to reach out to because you know, they have very specific circumstances. A lot of them are stuck here and unable to go back to their home country and unable to be reunited with their family, while school might be also suspended and all sorts of things. So, if you are interested to join that working group, we are hoping to organize some smaller town hall in the 2nd or 3rd week of June after our big town hall next week. So if you're interested, Andy is from our team, is the key person. Andy, you want to speak a little bit about it? Are you still there?
Yep, I'm here. So basically, as Alan identified, one of the international student groups are amongst different participants are addressing as, sorry, I'm getting my words mixed up today. So let me start again. International students have been identified as one of the groups that are having a lot of issues accessing resources during this time. For a lot of students who have not gone back to their home country, we're trying to find ways of supporting them. So we currently have a smaller subgroup that is meeting regularly to try and figure out the best way of setting up this town hall, to identify some key issues that international students are experiencing, and that will inform the rest of our project to see how we can deliver different resources and support for these students. Our next meeting will be this upcoming Friday at 5:30 p.m. So if you are interested in joining our Zoom meeting and being a part of that working group, please feel free to reach out to me. I can shortly type my email in the chat, and if you just let me know, we can send you the link. Any questions?
I just typed up Andy's email on the chat box.
Oh yeah, thank you.
Is anyone else trying to buy time?
Hi, it's Keith here. I just remind people, most of you have probably signed up for our newsletter. And if you haven't done so, please do so we could actually keep you informed through our newsletter as well. You go to our website, there's a subscribe our newsletter link, and you just click on it and you follow the instruction. You'll be in our, and then we will actually give it a little bit more related to our program updates and upcoming events, that kind of thing. We expect to come out with a newsletter this weekend. So basically, whatever we actually discuss about events will be there as well.
Thank you, Keith. Okay, is that it, everybody? I think the chat box has slowed down a little bit. So thank you all once again. We had a great time tonight. This is just going to be one of many. Hope to see you all soon, and stay safe. We'll keep in touch, and we'll reach out. Again, feel free to reach out to my email, volunteer@Project PROTECH, if you have any questions or concerns. Other than that, have a great rest of your evenings, and take care. Take good care, everyone. Bye.
Bye-bye.